Motivational Stories. Railway Story. This is a true railway story. Several years ago, an extremely hot day, a crew of men were working on the road bed of the railroad when they were interrupted by a slow moving train. The train ground to a stop, and a window in the last car, which incidentally was custom made with air condition, was raised. A booming, friendly voice called out, "Dave, is that you?" Dave Anderson, the crew chief, called back, "Sure is, Jim, and it's really good to see you." With that pleasant exchange, Dave Anderson was invited to join Jim Murphy, the president of the railroad, for a visit. For over an hour, the man exchanged pleasantries and then shook hands warmly as the train pulled out. Dave Anderson's crew immediately surrounded him, and the man expressed astonishment that he knew Jim Murphy, the president of the railroad, as a personal friend. Dave then explained that 20 years earlier he and Jim Murphy had started to work for the railroad on the same day. One of the men, half jokingly and half seriously, asked Dave why he was still working out in the hot sun and Jim Murphy had gotten to be president. Rather wistfully, Dave explained, 23 years ago, I went to work for $1.75 an hour, and Jim Murphy went for the railroad. Reaction versus response. Suddenly, a cockroach flew from somewhere and sat on her. I wondered if this was the cockroach's response to all the glory that was spoken about it. She started screaming out of fear. With panic stricken face and trembling voice, she started doing jumping with both her hands, desperately trying to get rid of the cockroach. Her reaction was contagious as everyone in her group got cranky to what was happening. The lady finally managed to push the cockroach to another lady in the group. Now it was the turn of the other lady in the group to continue the drama. The waiter rushed forward to their rescue. In the relay of throwing, the cockroach next fell upon the water. The waiter stood firm, composed himself, and observed the behavior of the cockroach on his shirt. When he was confident enough, he grabbed and threw it out with his fingers. Sipping my coffee and watching the amusement, the antenna of my mind picked up a few thoughts and started wondering, was the cockroach responsible for their histrionic behavior? If so, then why was the waiter not disturbed? He handled it near to perfection without any chaos. It is not the cockroach, but the inability of the ladies to handle the disturbance caused by the cockroach that disturbed the ladies. I realized, even in my case then, it is not the shouting of my father or my boss that disturbs me, but it's my inability to handle the disturbances caused by their shouting that disturbs me. It's not the traffic jams on the road that disturbs me, but my inability to handle the disturbance caused by the traffic jam that disturbs me. More than the problem, it's my reaction to the problem that hurts me. Lessons learned from the story. I understood I should not react in life, I should always respond. The woman reacted, whereas the waiter responded. Reactions are always instinctive, whereas responses are always intellectual. Secret success stories. Have you read about the secret success stories? Here we will tell you one interesting story. A young man asked Socrates, The secret to success. Socrates told the young man to meet him near the river the next morning. They met. Socrates asked the young man to walk with him toward the river. When the water got up to their neck, Socrates took the young man by surprise and dug him into the water. The boy struggled to get out, but Socrates was strong and kept him there until the boy started turning blue. Socrates pulled his head out of the water, and the first thing the young man did was to gasp and take a deep breath of air. Socrates asked, "What did you want the most when you goal setting activity there?" The boy replied, "Air." Socrates said, "That is the secret to success. When you want success as badly as you wanted the air, then you will get it. There is no other secret." Secret success stories. The motivation to succeed comes from the burning desire to achieve a purpose. Napoleon Hill wrote, "Whenever the mind of man can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve." A burning desire is the starting point of all accomplishment. Just like a small fire cannot give much heat, a weak desire cannot produce great results. Smart goals. If you ask most people what is their one major objective in life, they would probably give a vague answer such as, "I want to be successful, be happy, make a good living, and that is it." They are all wishes and none of them are clear goals. Goals must be smart, as specific. For example, "I want to lose weight." This is wishful thinking. It becomes a goal when I pin myself down to, "I will lose 10 pounds in 90 days. Second, M must be measurable. If we cannot measure it, we cannot accomplish it. Measurement is a way of monitoring our progress. Third, A must be achievable. Achievable means that it should be out of reach enough to be challenging, but it should not be out of sight, otherwise, it becomes disheartening. Number 4 are realistic. A person who wants to lose 50 pounds in 30 days is being unrealistic. Number 5 T time bound. There should be a starting date and a finishing date. Soar like an eagle. Did you know that an eagle knows when a storm is approaching long before it breaks? The eagle will fly to some high spot and wait for the winds to come. When the storm hits, it sets its wings so that the wind will pick it up and lift it above the storm. While the storm rages below, the eagle is soaring above it. The eagle does not escape the storm. It simply uses the storm to lift it higher. It rises on the winds that bring the storm. When the storms of life come upon us, like the eagle, we can rise above them and ride the winds of the storm that bring sickness, tragedy, failure, and disappointment into our lives. What is your greatest challenge right now? Jot it down and then let it lift you higher.